Hey, what's up guys, Joshua's Booster here and welcome back to another One Piece video. Today we're doing another little reaction to the new reviews that we got during One Piece Day, actually. So pretty cool, we got a lot of reviews, including the Emu leader that everybody already kind of expected would be reviewed today. And yeah, I just want to go over all the cards and whether they live up to the hype or not. Also, there's like a little bit of a spoiler warning. If you're like an anime only, then there are gonna be spoilers on some of the cards that we are going over. So yeah, just keep that in mind if that is something that you care about. Anyway, let's get into it. There is a lot to talk about. Just gonna go over everything that got reviewed basically, and then linger longer on whatever I think is more interesting. So we got this new zero cost event, which is the Divine Departure. You may rest 5 of your Dawn cards. If you have any given Dawn, give up to one of your opponent characters minus 8,000 power during this turn. So essentially for 5 Dawn, minus 8,000, which is pretty good. And then counter, trash 1 card from your hand up to one of your leader or characters gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. So basically, it's like a new type of zero cost event where instead of having a trigger effect, it instead also has like a main effect. And I would say this card is probably better than the old events, and it looks phenomenal as well, right? I mean, Divine Departure, it's like the scene where Roger like one-shots Odin. And this card looks amazing, so very cool. Anyway, then immediately getting into probably the most hyped cards here, which is Emu. Black leader, it has 4 life, 5,000 power, and then it has like the question mark where it usually says like the attribute, so slash, strike, special, whatever. It has a question mark, which is pretty interesting. And then it's mono black, but it only has 4 life. So you would assume that is like a pretty powerful effect, right? And you probably are already reading it, but it says, per the rules, you may not play cost 2 or greater events in your deck. So you can only play cost 1 events in your deck. Also, at the beginning of the game, play up to one of your Holy Land Marijoa type stages from your deck. And I think they just announced like a new stage that we're going over, but there's also the old stage that I think you could potentially play, but I don't think you would want to. I think you will always want to play the new one. Yeah. And then it says, activate main once per turn. You may trash one of your Celestial Dragon type characters from play, or 1 card from your hand, draw 1 card. So I know we all remember Sakazuki, if you played during that time, right? Being able to cycle like this is just a borderline broken ability, so this already sets the deck up to be very, very powerful, especially since later on you're gonna see that the deck needs like to hit certain thresholds of cards in your trash to unlock certain abilities and stuff, so it synergizes with that really well, but we'll get to that later. Then we have this 6 cost Luffy. It's Fishman Island type actually, which I think is interesting. Double attack on play if your leader is multicolored. Set up to 4 of your Dawn as active. Then you may not play any characters with an original cost of 5 or greater for the rest of the turn. So obviously just really synergizes well with the new red-green Luffy leader, but yeah. Then we have this Stussy, which is actually very good. It's yellow, egghead and CP0 type. 7 cost, 7,000 power. It's a blocker, and it says on play if your leader is the egghead type, play up to one of your characters with a cost of 5 or less with trigger from your hand. So it's like pretty good card. It will really help a deck like Vegapunk to go super wide even easier. Like it's basically gives it like a Moria-esque turn, even though you don't play stuff from the trash but from the hand instead, which obviously is not as good, but still pretty solid card, I think. And then we have this card, the Empty Throne, which is a Holy Land Marijoa type stage. It's a black stage, 7 cost. It looks extremely cool in my opinion. It says, your turn, if your trash is 19 cards or greater, give your leader plus 1,000 power. So basically from that point on, your Emu leader is going to be a 6k base leader, which is very powerful. And then, activate main, you may rest this card and 3 of your Dawn cards, so for 4 Dawn, or for 3 Dawn, sorry. Play from your hand a black 5 Elder Stars type character that has a cost equal to or less than the total number of Dawn cards on your field. So very similar actually to the Shirahoshi leader that we have. We have this stage, and it's a 7 cost stage, and I don't think there is cards in the game yet that interact with it. However, they did just announce a card that does interact with this. But you know, making your Emu Leader, a 6k base power later on in the game, and then being able to cheat out essentially your 5 Elder Stars type characters, which are quite powerful. For just 3 Don is quite good, but I do think it's pretty balanced the way that you do require the necessary amount of Don on your field, right? So you can't play like the Jupiter, we're gonna take a look at that in a second. It's like a 7 cost, so you will only be able to play that for 3 Don on your 7 Don turn, and not like before that, which seems fair. And then we have this card, which the art for this is also just absolutely amazing. The quality of this picture isn't that high, but you can just tell how cool this looks. I think this card looks phenomenal. It's a 10 cost, 12,000 power. It's slash special. So basically all the Elder Stars are like special attribute, and then Venus Duro is slash, so it's both. It says activate main if you lure this Emu. You may rest one of your Don and trash 1 card from your hand, trash all your characters, then play from trash up to 5 Elder Stars type characters with power of 5,000. That all have different names, so you basically just... I imagine it's gonna be like, okay, you play this, then next turn you swing 12. Rest the Don, trash this character, play 5. Gorosei, which is very, very powerful. So like from the 10 Don turn onwards, Emu is gonna be a massive, massive threat. And I really think it's one of those decks that you're gonna want to beat in the earlier stages of the game, because it's like a 4-life leader, so it makes it like a little bit easier to deal with. Of course, depending on any other support that we're going to get, but it looks right now, I feel like it will be one of those decks. Then with this Uta, 4 costs, 1000 power, counter on plays at up to 2 of your Don cards as active, then you may not play any character with original cost of 5 or greater for the rest of the turn. On KO, play up to 1 character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand as rested. So it's really setting up this this new Luffy leader to be like a very mid-rangey deck without any high drops, it looks like. And then we're gonna get into... These cards are so cool! We're gonna get into the 5 Elder Stars of the Gorosei, starting with J. Garcia Saturn, which is a 4 cost, 5,000 power. It has counter as well. It's 5 Elder Stars, Celestial Dragon type. Just look at this art, right? This is phenomenal. It looks so good. I wish the quality of this this picture was like a little bit higher, but yeah, I think this is like one of the coolest cards that's the coolest artworks in the game, probably. Like as well as all the other Gorosei that are reviewed, and the alt art that is. And I want to point out that actually this all the Gorosei alt arts were drawn by Geji. I never really know how to pronounce his name, but it's the mangaka for Jujutsu Kaisen, which is very, very cool. And there's like later down we'll get like a little statement from him as well, like why he drew these cards, which I think is very, very cool. I'm like a huge Jujutsu Kaisen fan. Like I have this Todo on my arm, right? So like this little collaboration, I would say, between One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen, I think is very, very cool. And I really think his artwork suits these characters so well for what they are. But yeah, little tangent, fanboying there. The effect is, if you have 7 or more cards in your treasure, this character cannot be removed by your opponent's effects. And this is like a common theme between all the Gorosei cards. And then on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 cards with 5 Elder Stars type, and add it to your hand, and then put the rest at the bottom of the deck. So it's just a searcher for the Gorosei, basically. Which cannot be removed, and I think that's so critical for a deck like this. Then we get Saint Topman Warkery, which is also a 4 cost. Similar stats to J. Garcia Saturn, and then also if your treasure 7 cards or more, this character cannot leave play by your opponent's card effects, and it gains blocker. So it's just a blocker, and then on KO it draws a card, which is fine, I would say. Then we get to Saint Shepherd Jupiter, and this is really one of the better ones. I think it's a 7 cost. I didn't even see this before, but it's actually a 2k counter, which is of course very, very powerful. And then it says, if your treasure 7 cards or more, this character cannot leave play by your opponent's card effects, of course. And then this is like where it becomes really good. During your turn, if your treasure is 10 or more cards, give all of your 5 Elder Stars type characters a base power of 7,000. So you will actually be able to apply like a lot of pressure from the 7 Dawn turn onwards. And like on 7 Dawn, right, you can go use the stage, tap 3 Dawn, play this guy, and then use the remaining 4 Dawn to play either like the J. Garcia Saturn or the Topman Warkery. So you already have like a pretty good turn there, and then you have like 2 7k beaters. Yeah, very powerful. And then, okay, randomly this 6 cost Portacast the Ace, 7000 power. If you have 3 or less life, this card gains Rush. Well, it just so happens that the new Ace leader only has 3 life, so... And then, on play, give up to 1 of your rest and done to your leader. Afterward, return up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand. And if you do, your opponent may play up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less from it. Okay, okay. I was like, whoa, this is actually super broken. I hadn't really read this card yet, but it's fine. I suppose. Like, I mean, I think it's a very good card, but it's not quite as broken as I thought. Then we have St. Marcus Mars, which is a 6 cost, 7 cards or more, cannot leave play, and then it gains Rush, so very cool, good synergy with Jupiter, because it's going to be a 7k Rush character, and then on play, just 1 card from your hand, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with an original cost of 5 or less. So very good card once again. It has Rush and KO, which I think is very, very powerful. It has counter as well, so these Gorosei cards are very, very powerful, and this card once again looks phenomenal. I have to say, I think Jupiter actually looks the coolest, even though I do think his like yokai design is probably the least cool, I think. But like Geji did such a good job like representing this character on the card. And then okay, we have this card, which is the 5 Elder Stars are here, which is just like, look at top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 of your Celestial Dragon types, add it to a hand, and then trash the rest. It's just a searcher, like I'm gonna be a Navy officer and stuff like that, and not much to say about that. And then we have Never Existed, which is of course referring to the Lelouchia scene. And this card is the card that I already talked about that interacts with the stage, which says you may rest 1 of your Dawn. If your leader is Emu, KO up to 1 of your opponents, cost 7 stage cards. So this card basically just exists to KO the empty throne. Which I guess is gonna be like pretty important in the Emu mirror match. And then it also says counter if your leader is Emu. Give your leader or 1 of your characters plus 4000 power for this battle. So it has like the Radical Beam for just 1 cost and no restriction. I mean, the restriction is your leader is Emu, but very similar to the Shikahoshi card. You're just not my type. So this card will definitely make it like a little bit more manageable to get to the late game against more aggro-ish decks, I think. And then the last Gorosei card we have is Even Baron Venus Duro. 6 cost, 1000 power. If you trash 7 cards or more, this character cannot leave play where opponent's effect, and it gains Rush again. And then, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, give up to 1 of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power on attack. So you know that minus 2000 power when attacking in combination with Rush, very, very powerful. Then we just have some SPs that we can look at. Ben Beckman, Smoker, I think is obviously very cool. 5 cost Ace. The 9 cost Luffy, I also think this one looks pretty cool. The 8 cost Sabo. Honestly, I'm not like much of a Sabo fan, but I do like the post they did for him. And the 3 cost Lilith. And then some wanted posters. I do think those are pretty cool. Just iconic poses, I think. We get the Roger with the Sabo, like the Flame Emperor, I think. Oh, and this is gonna be the... I'm not sure what they're called, but like we already had the Luffy, the Gear 5 Luffy and the Teach, and now we're getting this Shanks, which I think with this really cool red hue, which is pretty nice. So I would assume in OP14 we're getting Buggy, but who knows. I think... Oh wait, there's even more. Red Super Parallel, aka Fire Manga. Okay. Okay. I don't like the character choices, but it makes sense for the theme of the set, right? But all of these already have like a manga art. But I do think the concept is very, very cool. And like, you know, fire manga with these 3 characters, obviously very cool. And then, okay, this is the last card I want to go over. If your life is 3 or less, draw 2 cards and then give up to 1 of your rested done to your leader. So just Ace support. Again, pretty cool artwork, I think. But yeah, obviously just Emo and the Emu and Gorosei, they are the star of the show. Stars of the show here. Yeah, honestly, to me it looks like Gold Roger will be the best deck in OP 13 for now, but of course we have seen a lot of Roger support already, and we haven't quite seen all of the Emu support, I would assume. So I know I'm going to be a Emu main in OP 13, and not just because it's black, but also because of the artwork for the Gorosei. Very, very excited to see what is to come. Yeah, that's it. Leave a like if you're hyped about these cards. Let me know what you think the Emu deck will, like, how good it will be in the format, or like any of the cards that I went over. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't yet, and if you do, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!